What is going on, everybody? It's episode 132 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and my co-host over there is laughing. Introduce yourself, please.
Did they hear that?
I don't think they heard that.
What is up, crisis actors? My name is Mary.
And she was talking with the low whistle of her nostrils.
Our nostrils.
Okay. Our nostrils.
It was
We are
only her
sharing the
nostrils
whistling.
doing it, though.
Yes. So I don't think they could hear that, though. That is our guest host over there. Introduce yourself, sir.
What's up, everybody? I'm Shane Cashman, writer of Tales from the Inverted World.
How's that going?
It's going pretty well. Pretty happy with it.
Do you want to give everybody a plug early? We could do the plug early.
Yeah. Well, you can buy our first book, Volume 1, at invertedworldbook.com. And at the end of this month, I won't say the specific day yet, we will release our first video of the new season. Pretty excited for it. And then the book will come out in July. So
Perfect.
Pretty
But today you're here to talk about Amber Heard,
all types of
pop
horror
culture,
stories.
everything going on in the world today, which is we've got the follow-up going on, the fallout of the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. We've got her statement released, and we're going to talk about further projects that she's actually got going on. We've got that. We are going to talk about Netflix working to finally change their strategy, which they should have done a very, very long time ago, but we're getting there. It's going to happen. And then we're going to talk about big changes over at Warner Brothers in DC. We got that. We got Podluck. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you two, I almost said if you ladies are ready to go, because it's been other. If ladies and
If
gentlemen,
Shanae is ready.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so if you're ready,
I'm ready.
if you're ready, Shanae.
I'm ready.
All right, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it, ladies. All right. So it says, remove Aquaman Heard from Aquaman, or remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 petition at record high. I'm off to a great start today. That's fantastic. I'm going to edit that out in post, ladies
No,
and
you're
gentlemen.
not. Keep that.
I'll leave it in there. I'll leave it in
Yeah.
there. I'm gonna stand by my words.
Nice.
So it says the petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 has reached a record high, which follows the verdict being read in the Johnny Depp defamation lawsuit moments ago. The jury found in unanimous favor of Johnny Depp and awarded the actor $15 million, while also stating that Amber Heard acted with malice and that her statements made to the Washington Post were false. I want to clarify that he didn't end up getting it's not $15 million. I believe it ended up being
Really?
because it ended up being there's a cap on the damages, so he got like $10 million for compensatory, $15 million for punitive, but because of the cap on punitive damages, it was like $350,000, so it came to like $10.35 million, but then she won $2 million, so it's like $8.35 million all in, which oddly enough is almost poetic that it's very close to the $7 million divorce settlement that they had that she never paid out entirely to the ACLU or to that hospital, which is kind of it is a little bit poetic if
Chef's
you ask
kiss.
me. Mwah. I do want to read her statement just before we get into the rest of it, because she released this yesterday. So it says, "The disappointment I feel is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could publicly be shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. I believe Johnny's attorneys succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore the evidence." Thank you. And that was me saying that, not Amber Heard saying that.
And ignore the evidence. Thank you.
Yes, and ignore the evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. I'm sad I lost this case, but I am sadder still that I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly. Whatever your thoughts are on the outcome of the trial, I do believe that he won in the court of public opinion handily. But in this case, I do think like when she says stuff like she's like what she cares about for women, I don't
She
buy.
doesn't care about women.
I don't.
I genuinely believe that she's upset, obviously.
Yes.
But it's for herself.
Yes,
Right. When she
Which
talks
isn't a
about
bad thing. You don't have to be a right fighter.
no.
Nope.
When she talks about mountain of evidence, it's brown and on the bed, right?
Yes, that it's a separate mountain. There was I told Mary
Maybe that's
earlier.
a little hill.
Little hill.
There was well, yeah,
Make an emoji for
there
that.
was a large mountain of evidence she had to overcome. There was a great meme from like a libertarian earlier. It says Johnny Depp wins on 3 cases of defamation and Amber Heard wins on 1 case of defecation.
Perfect.
Which you know, as my the 12-year-old I am inside laughed very heavily at that. So But I don't think for a moment that this will stop her from working long term. I think that she will work in smaller projects, and we are going to talk about 2 movies that she's got coming out, but they do not want her on Aquaman 2. So it says Amber Heard has been exposed. Okay, we're going to go back up to the top here. It says, as a result, the remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 petition via change.org. Again, there is never, I don't know if there is such a thing as a actually successful change.org petition, but
if she's taken out of Aquaman 2, that changes forever.
yes, like we'll have to then give change.org actual credence when we talk about it. It now has 4.44 million signatures and is fastly closing in on 4.5 million signatures.
Bots.
Dead internet theory. So it says,
Just
quote,
make a new email and there you go.
Yep. Amber Heard has been exposed as a domestic abuser by Johnny Depp, states the petition, which is aimed at DC and Warner Brothers. In his $50 million lawsuit, Johnny Depp describes many instances of domestic abuse that he suffered at the hands of his then-wife, Amber Heard, including one incident where she punched him in the face, twice in the face, and another where she shattered his finger with a vodka bottle, and his finger had to be surgically reattached. He will bear the scar from that for the rest of his life. Did you see the thing of him playing music the other day?
Yes.
I saw a photo of it.
Wouldn't that affect his ability to play music severely?
Yeah.
No.
Really? Would it? I mean,
somebody in the
nerve
chat.
Is he
damage?
right-handed?
Somebody in the chat would have to let me know if
Which hand was it?
I don't know.
If it's his right hand and he plays guitar with a righty, then I don't think so. 'Cause
Okay.
he's still picking. He can still hold a pick with the middle finger.
Okay.
Or
All right. So if he was playing piano, it would, or if he
Yeah.
was playing.
I've seen enough inspirational videos on YouTube where you can have like no limbs and still play piano though.
Those are the ones. Those
So-
are always like designed to make like
Yeah.
there's this amazing channels of people who like they skateboard blind, and it's like make me feel bad for like
Yeah.
not wanting to go out and skate, like get my daily session in.
what's
Look at
your
this guy.
excuse,
Yeah.
man?
Like that's literally what I repost it every time. I'm like, I was like, fine, I'll go out and skate for an hour before bed.
Yeah.
If this guy can do it,
Exactly.
like I have no excuses whatsoever. So her statement is not at all surprising, but when they talk about it here, they talk about the $350,000 that was the cap on the $5 million punitive damages, but also the Heard's team says that Depp's team demonized my client and that they're unable to pay the 10.4 million. And I do believe that she probably doesn't have the capital to pay the full amount, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that she would be able to? I don't know if she has that much money.
Let me look up her
See, like-
estimated net worth. Those
True.
things are never real.
They're never right.
Yeah.
But let's just guess.
Maybe it gives you like a general idea. So it says, do you think that his team demonized her? Or do you think this was a case of the internet run wild?
I personally don't. If you consider just telling the truth, demonizing someone, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
My issue with it is more just that some of the things that I've been reading have been like, it's like, look, this trial was televised. People, for once, were not subject to the media's interpretation of events. They were able to watch it live and make up their minds for themselves.
Right.
And that's kind of damning when you think about it.
I think the money doesn't. I don't care about the money in this case, especially because they're two Hollywood types. But it was sweet justice to see the court of public opinion turn against her.
This is not reliable. Fox Business reports it as 8 million.
Okay.
And then there's another one that lists it as 2.5 million, and it also, I think she earned 10 million in gross income between 2013 and 2019.
Okay, so it's all over the place.
So
it's
she
possible to
she
know.
will be on OnlyFans soon.
Yeah,
But
what
that
you're
is
saying.
like,
She'd make a lot of money on OnlyFans.
she could, maybe from you.
Dang.
Ow!
You gonna subscribe?
I'm not going to subscribe.
She does have a lot of fans out there, though, so I'm sure she'd do all right.
If you look at her Twitter, like when she posted this, there like most of the comments that I saw were ones that were, there's it's always
she's getting torn apart in the quote tweets.
yeah,
and
but
people are arguing about it still.
in the people, it says, "You're my hero. I will always be on your side. You inspire so many people to fight for justice." It's just so
dumb.
funny and backwards.
No one
and
thinks about Amber Heard like that.
No.
I'm not, and I don't even agree with the way that that people are reacting to this.
How would you have liked it? Like if this had like had the perfect outcome, how would it have turned out for you?
A perfect outcome.
If there was such a thing as a utopian perfect outcome, how would this have turned out?
It would get dismissed in the first place. It would have never gone into a civil suit because I believe that it was a mutual situation.
So maybe to you in the perfect situation, he doesn't win money, but it comes out that she's also not.
I don't think that the op-ed had enough evidence that it was defamatory. I just don't think that.
Did he? I don't know this because I didn't watch it as closely as you guys did, but did the op-ed make it so he lost his jobs? Like, did
That's
everything?
their argument. When I read it, it was such a reach insinuation.
I do believe that she meant she was insinuating to him, but it was very
I'm sure she is
tepid.
Like, if we're admitting, or like, if we're placing the safe bet that the abuse in their relationship was mutual, then it wouldn't be a lie to say that she's been the victim of abuse. And she also clarified in the article, thank you, that she was a victim of abuse in her younger years, her like childhood years.
Right.
And don't forget, she was arrested for assaulting her ex girlfriend.
I saw that.
Taja, what's it? Taja Van Ray,
Right.
or something like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
She has like my issue was not that you're claiming that you were abused. It's that you. I feel like
she's claiming that she's been abused, which is true.
But my issue is like to be a spokesperson for abuse, you should also probably not be an abuser as well. Given the fact that it happened to you.
Obviously it's hypocritical and a lie.
Yes,
but that isn't the issue. Like, it comes down to, did the op-ed defame Johnny Depp?
And you don't.
And
believe
it
that.
never mentioned that it was in a previous marriage. It never mentioned in adulthood. It literally just said she became a public figure representing domestic abuse.
I think defamation law says, though, that you don't have to name the person specifically if it's pretty easy to identify.
You don't have
the
to,
person,
but
right?
it was such a reach.
Yeah.
The insinuation.
Yeah.
That
I don't think it's such a reach. I don't think it's such a reach. I think that it's tepid compared to what people made it out to be, but I don't think it's such a reach as the right
She
word
didn't
for
even
it.
say, like, in a previous relationship, I went through blah blah blah.
And then remember that
She didn't even say that.
That lawsuit was written by like a lawyer, like
Right.
from the ACLU. So
Right.
I do want to talk about here. It just says Amber Heard is slated to star in 2 blockbusters following Johnny Depp trial. Okay, blockbusters is a very generous term for this, but it says Amber Heard is set to star in 2 blockbuster movies following her trial with ex-husband Johnny Depp. The former couple have been locked in a bitter trial for weeks, with millions watching out. The most intimate details of their relationship were put on display for the world to see. So then it goes down here and it says, however, with all that, they're talking about the trial before, Heard is also slated for 2 more movies in the coming months. According to her IMDb page, she will play Grace Burnham in a demonic thriller called In the Fire, excuse me. And the synopsis says, a doctor from New York travels to a remote plantation in the 1890s to care for a disturbed boy who seems to have inexplicable abilities, which sounds fairly interesting. She begins treating the child, but in doing so ignites a war of science versus superstition with a local priest who believes the boy is possessed by the devil and is the reason for all the village's woes. I don't know. That sounds
It's kind of trite. I'm like, what's with horror movies are just like, here's this child, but he's weird.
That's been going on for years. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Children of the Corn is a classic. Are
Easy.
you kidding me?
And she plays a doctor, and spoiler alert, I hear she ends up setting up the child. He's not really evil at all. The
yes.
doctor just sets up everything. It's really
She
messed up.
wrote a really mean article about
It's
the
an
kid in
op-ed.
the local village
Yeah,
paper.
yeah.
And the kid gets in trouble because she's like, look,
Horrible.
I was a victim of demonic children in a previous
I was a victim of
previous
demonic
relation.
abuse, and
Yes.
I became a public figure in the village representing demonic abuse.
I am a demonic abuse victim, and I am
Right.
here to advocate on behalf of all this entire village who are full of demonic abuse victims.
Yes.
I, Amber Heard's character.
I stand for
You know,
all
I've actually come
demonic
across
abuse
support groups for
victims.
people like that.
there you
in
go.
My,
there
in
you
my
go.
research.
That's perfect. You have.
I have, yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
so that's a real thing.
Oh man.
What if she pivoted to that and
Yeah.
she just gets into like the supernatural?
Yeah.
so-
It's like AA for demonic possessed
Yep.
people. It's nice.
So it says the site also states that she has been cast for Run Away With Me, another thriller that centers on an American in Paris who falls for a model, with the pair becoming embroiled in a criminal underworld of the European modeling industry. That seems more up her alley. Like she could pull off I don't know what the word, vacuous model who falls into a criminal world pretty well.
Yeah.
Cool idea.
That could be pretty well. And if you look at that one, it was called Run Away With Me, and that one's in pre-production right now. And the other people listed, this was the other one listed on this movie. Like she was the only one listed for that movie, and I had not heard of the director. But the other one is in post production, and that's Into the Fire. That's the one with Grace Burnham, and that's got Eduardo Noriega. It's different than the other Noriega. Lorenzo McGovern-Zaney, Luca Calvani, and Sophie Amber. Nobody that I've heard of, so I don't know if this is perhaps if it's an independent movie that makes more sense.
So she's filmed all these already.
The one Into the Fire she has already filmed.
Right.
That's the one with her being demonic. Demonic abuse survivor.
She's been cast for a runaway
yes.
with
The
him.
other one she's been cast for. Do they keep her on?
Yes.
Like, do you think
We're
they
not
might
as bad
like
as the
if
others.
it-
Redemption. I believe in redemption. And
Yeah.
I think maybe this turn of events, let's see, maybe she gives us a great performance.
So-
Maybe they're gonna pay her less though.
I don't
yeah,
care
her-
about that, yeah.
her
Or she does it
market-
for free.
her market
Yeah.
share has gone down
Yeah. Or
tremendously.
they could just pay Depp directly.
But I feel like I would be more likely to watch something with her in it now that she's
This has happened?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the center of controversy. It's just
Yeah.
funny to me.
What if she
Yeah.
turns it around and becomes an absolutely phenomenal actress?
Stoked. Good.
Like she's like, I was just kind of average and coasting on my looks before, but now I'm actually gonna starts going back to classes, graduates from Tisch, and
Yeah.
gets really good at acting. That would be
I'd be into that. She finds some inner peace.
I would like to see her own redemption arc. Do I believe that that's going to happen? No, but
Well,
I would love to see her be able to put.
Yeah. I could tell her
Yep.
I could tell her that Alec Baldwin is doing fine, and he shot someone dead.
He's in that movie. He's like they're shopping that at Cannes this year, and he just started a production company from that. So he's a Hollywood. Or we talked about Kevin Spacey. He's
Right.
got the two movies coming out now, just as those allegations came into what happened with
Right.
in the UK, the four allegations
Wait,
against him.
There's new ones.
There's
for
new
him?
ones, yeah.
But the other ones those guys have passed away now.
A bunch, yeah. The ones here had passed away under mysterious circumstances, but the ones in the UK, like he's going to, and like a bunch of people were writing articles that were like, the people in the UK should probably be very wary about
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey coming to kind of get his day in court out there because you never know what could happen.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Clinton of Hollywood.
he kind of is the Clinton of Hollywood. There were super chats.
Yes, there were. Let's see. Hava Owens said, "We must be careful of celeb worship. Don't forget."
He's that when I
I might
read
be guilty though.
scroll back. There's more at the top
Oh, there
there.
are more.
But he's absolutely right about
Yep.
that because if you read down like on any celebrity's Twitter, it's always weird. Like the stuff people say to them, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Caper2X said, "Bravo Zulu to Hannah Claire and Nick for their field report."
Thank you.
Waffles Sensei said his name is Shanae Cash Girl.
That is your name.
I love that.
We're gonna.
Thank you.
Are you gonna change it right now?
I can't do it. I would have to do that next
That's
episode.
they said
Okay.
Shanae. They spelled it
Yeah.
like that because I actually, when I was in 8th grade, they made us take home bags of flour to pretend like we had babies, and I named it Shanae.
Oh.
Yeah.
That-
After the show Martin, which was my favorite. One of
Yes.
my favorite comedies.
Incredible.
Thank you for that.
Perfect.
I'm now Shanae.
Hava Owens said, "Let's go, crew. Time for another hit show."
Yes,
and
it
then he
is.
also said, "We must." Oh,
Yep.
I
We
read
must
that
be
one
careful of
before.
celebrity worship. Please do not forget.
Waffle Sensei said, "Brett will definitely sign up for Amber's OnlyFans for research purposes."
That's
fair.
Research purposes
That's fair.
only.
That's
Yeah.
what we were talking about on IRL last night when they were talking about look like Tim's like had to look up stuff about like the stuff Sleepy Joe sent to his son.
Oh, yeah.
He's like I had to literally look it up for research.
Tim's
and-
on a
and
list now.
He's definitely on a list, and that would mean that if I was to, maybe get Amber Heard's OnlyFans, it would be purely for the sake of this show
Yeah.
becoming a better show.
Yeah, stay tuned for the review from these two.
It's not for me; it's for you guys.
Nice.
That's why
Yes.
I would have her OnlyFans.
Hava Owens said, "I think Waffle is onto something big here." True. And then John Lee said, "I work for the doctor that was Johnny's expert witness for Johnny's finger injury.
Whoa.
I can say that Johnny has a very honest team knowing his expert." Well, we don't know if you're telling the truth, but
I want to believe that.
Yes, I'm going to give him because I can. I'm going to give him the
We
benefit of the doubt.
believe you.
I believe him. So it's like
Mary could play a demon kid pretty good. Oh, thanks.
there you go.
That's good. That's also true.
We will make a movie.
It's also true.
About Mary as a demon as a demon child. It's not too far off, right? No,
That's
she's
great.
mad.
No,
now,
I could
you know.
do it.
She could do it. She could totally do
That'd
it.
be great.
All right, so let's move on and let's talk about Netflix.
Oh wait, real quick though,
yeah,
before
go
you
ahead.
do that, Beetlejuice 2. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
What?
they're working on it.
I'm excited.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
excited.
We'll go see that one.
Good.
You can be here for the review for that.
All right, I'd love to. That's one of my favorites.
All right. So we're going to go on. We're going to talk about Netflix
Bless you.
as she sneezes. You okay there?
Mm-hmm.
She's okay. All right. So Netflix is changing its movie strategy after huge losses. They're talking about the 200,000 subscriber loss that they had a month ago, and it is funny to me that these companies literally need to be basically kicked in the backside before they make any changes whatsoever. But it says, it seems as if the new era of Hollywood at Netflix has wound down to a close, while the feature film division of the streaming giant has put out a staggering amount of material over the last few years. The company fortunes have fallen on more fallow times lately. I've never heard that word before. Fallow?
Fallow.
Is that a word? Somebody in the chat will have to let me know.
I haven't come across that one in a while, but I think
that's a real word.
Fallow times. Yeah, it's just like it's not good.
And when the writer wrote that, he was like, yeah.
It's a light yellowish brown color.
Okay. Well, I don't know what that means.
Oh, I guess it's just that the land is
not green
dead,
anymore.
yeah.
Okay.
No more lush.
The green pastures have since dispersed.
Beautiful.
So it says
putting your English major to good use.
with users leaving the former king of the streaming mountain in droves in the wake of the emergence of multiple studio-owned services, customer dissatisfaction with rising prices, and content controversies. Multiple similar studio-owned services. So what they're saying is like there's too many streaming services to choose from now. There's Netflix, there's Amazon Prime, there's Hulu. There's Disney Plus, there's HBO Max, there's Paramount Plus, there's Peacock, there's literally 1,000 of them. I keep Netflix for like one or two things, but for the most part, it gets very little use from me. And I understand like a lot of people, like there's content controversies from both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
There's people, the people probably more likely to watch this show would have issues with cuties being on Netflix, and people who are less likely to watch this show had a problem with the recent Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle specials. But basically the idea here is that they need to employ a new process when they're picking the movies that they're going to talk about. And it says the company is hoping to engage viewers with a bigger, better, fewer strategy. In other words, the service will continue to make high-quality pictures with A-list talent, just not as many as in the past. So it's literally going to just turn into a regular movie studio that's just not releasing them in theaters.
They oversaturated.
Like they're about to. When they said that they're gonna axe like vanity projects, it sounds like they're axing anything that has a lot of effort put into it because that requires more budget.
Yep. So it says Netflix co-chief Ted Sarandos explained the strategy to The Hollywood Reporter just a few days ago. We were struggling to out-monetize the market on little art films. That's my biggest problem here is they keep talking about that in here. It's like they're not making money on the art house stuff that nobody's watching. Yeah. If you were to think of Netflix, you're going to think of Stranger Things, Ozark. What else do you think of when you think of Netflix?
Stranger Things.
That's really what I think.
Cuties.
The only one that people actually still care about.
Like, is the only one that seems to do very well. But the big budget stuff, like the Adam Project, did very well for the streaming service, and they mentioned that one in here. Right. But that one had big name actors attached to it. There's been so many that I've just like things on there that I scroll right through and just will never watch.
They've got endless mini series, so it's non-committal.
Yeah.
They can just kind of throw it out there.
And
I don't really use it.
Yep, and those things never go past 3 seasons.
Yeah,
I actually steal someone's password to watch Netflix so I could watch the Ricky Gervais thing, and I kind of liked it. I didn't think it was that great.
No, I mean either. I was like, meh. It was.
I heard those jokes better from other comedians.
Yes.
Yeah, you just got attacked by a stink bug.
Got him.
That was amazing.
Thank you. In other words, we don't expect to see any Netflix project, Stranger Things notwithstanding, to be duking it out with Disney Plus in terms of relative special effects budget, nor can we expect prestige projects along the lines of The Irishman to be on the menu for the time being. This tendency to do anything to attract talent and give them carte blanche is going away. They had to do that early on because they were struggling to get bigger name actors because they saw themselves as above doing Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
They saw that as like a demotion of their talent. This interestingly enough, in the skating industry, there was something similar that used to go on. Like you used to be looked down upon for putting out like internet content, like for putting that's hard to believe in the world we live in now.
Yeah.
But there was a time where you were expected to make like a video section once a year. And maybe like a promotional piece for like one of your sponsors, but making regular internet content was looked at as like really, really low brow.
That's
and
funny.
like I looked at that in like 2005 or 6. I was like, look, eventually DVDs are going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, no one's going to be watching stuff the way they're watching it. They're going to be watching it on, at the time it was YouTube.
Yep.
Now there's VOD services for that, or you can watch stuff on Instagram or any social media site. So I think that this was just their ability to like buy off those actors for like the Irishman, for like the Scorseses and the De Niros, was because they wanted to establish themselves as a major player within the studio sector.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I think that they have since done.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Adam Project had Ryan Reynolds. Red Notice had Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and Gadot. Sorry, not good. It's not Godot, and it's not Gadot. It's
Isn't it Godot?
It's Gadot. You pronounce the T. She says so.
That's a hot take. I've never heard that.
I know.
I like it.
And
I
then
trust you.
so it got them. It got The Rock. It got
Right.
so now that they regularly get those actors, they don't have to be producing endless things all the time. Just focus on making good projects.
Yeah.
They're
They're gonna leave like the indie stuff to stuff like A24,
which is
that
what
puts out-
A24 is good at.
Yeah, and
right.
they're- and they're great
or
at it.
focus.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're good
I
at.
did see a commercial on YouTube. It came up a new Netflix movie that I was like, okay, this is interesting because it reminded me of like old '90s high concept movies. Man versus Bee. Did you see that?
No.
What?
It's literally just a man. It's the
No.
guy who plays Mr. Bean. Remember
Yeah.
that guy.
Yep.
And maybe it's a miniseries. It's a series or a movie, and he just has a problem with a bee throughout the whole thing. I'm like, that's hilarious. It makes me want to watch that.
But you can't put hundreds of millions of dollars into
this
projects
looks like a big
that.
budget.
Does it?
I mean, there's
Okay.
explosions. It might be a Michael Bay movie for all I know.
That's
I got Brett.
I like it already.
Yeah.
I want to
He's
see it.
Fighting
There's
a bee.
explosion. Just a bee. I mean,
So it says-
it's a narrative and then a bee.
As it moves forward, Netflix wants to focus on making bigger movies, making better movies, and releasing fewer than it previously did at the gluttonous pace. Because of the oversaturation, nobody wants to. It all runs together after a while. It
I
says,
mean, I feel like they might very well be bigger and
Thank you.
fewer, but they're not gonna be better because why would anything good happen?
Yep. But it says small movies are not going to go away, says one insider, but they could become more niche and cater to a passionate audience. It's already niche. Most of their smaller budget movies are
Small
already
movies literally means niche.
Yes, it
What?
says another insider concurs, saying that the output will be reduced, lessening the need for so many execs. That's a huge problem too. Is just an overabundance of executives, creative visions clashing at all times. That happens in even the smallest of businesses. And when it becomes to industries that are creative and output, it gets even harder to.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about that more in the Warner Brothers segment because of what they're doing with Todd Phillips and Toby Emmerich. It says they were overstaffed with executives, says the insider. Also, bigger doesn't necessarily mean more $150 million movies. Expect to see a more subtle change. Instead of making 2 movies for $10 million, as an example, the company will make 1 for $20. That makes perfect sense to me. Actually focus on. It also means that the lame, overly hyper polarizing content will probably not make the cut if they actually are pivoting towards a business model. You would hope that if they go all in on stuff
Hopefully.
that I'm being wishful thinking here, but the goal would be like, if you're going to like, look, 5 years ago we make a bunch of like weird projects that a lot of people don't like, fine, we've got the money to do it right now. Now when you're only making one project and it has to cost the amount that those 5 projects did, they can't take the risk on the story.
I mean, I find that Netflix stuff is actually worse on that front than other movies.
In what way? Oh, about the messaging?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, I don't you're gonna disagree with me wholeheartedly on this, but like, I don't think that the wokeness is actually that common of like something I encounter in movies, at least. Maybe it's just that like you specifically are into like certain genres of movies that have been like affected way more by it than mine, or like shows that I watch.
Maybe it also depends on what both your definitions of woke is and how you see it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm like always able to tell when they're trying to do something.
Yep.
Like
You
can spot
it.
messaging, but
It's oddly enough far more common in network television now. It got really bad in network television like between 2019 and 2020. In TV shows on other platforms, you have your pick of what you're watching, so you can like I tend to filter it out. Like if I see something and it's in there, I just turn it off and go watch something else. Not even just because of that, but just because it's not interesting to me.
It also depends on like how much is in it.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a
I
line.
put up with a lot if I
Yeah.
think it's still interesting.
Oh, for sure.
Which is most often the case. I'm surprised that you just like turn it off.
It depends
it
on
can
how
be
early.
good and still
Like I still like Sabrina. I watched that and I thought that was pretty
haven't
ridiculous. The
seen
new
that.
one.
It,
Like I thought
it
that was
depends on
ridiculous.
how
Oh.
early in the movie it is, and what I found, in my opinion, is that it's not just that it's quote unquote woke. It's that those ideas and those themes are symptoms of bad writers, and my palate,
sometimes.
at least for the stuff that I watch, doesn't lend itself to wanting to watch bad
it
writing.
just depends if they're allowing the ideology to push the narrative
Yep.
or if it just happens to be there, as like kind of
As a
background noise.
given, which
So
is sad. But
They point out here. They say the two top grossing movies that they've made are Red Notice and The Atom Project, both of which are gloriously devoid of any wokeness. But they're also like the Atom Project is phenomenal. Red Notice is the most generic, by the number. Like a lot of times you hear me praise like boring generic action movies as like great because you can kind of turn your brain off. This is somehow not a good version of that, where it's exactly like that, but it looks like it was made with like a paint by numbers action movie book. It doesn't really work. But
Right.
The Rock is kind of charismatic, and Ryan Reynolds is kind of charismatic, and Gal Gadot is very charismatic. So it's like I shouldn't say The Rock isn't very. The Rock is very charismatic in the right roles. Ryan
right.
Reynolds is very charismatic in the right
sure.
roles. In this, they're playing like The Rock plays a weirdly a little bit off of like what he would normally play. Ryan Reynolds plays exactly what you'd expect him to play, and so it just isn't very interesting.
Yeah.
But they're not doing themselves any favors by making too many things and oversaturating the market. I think they should be making less stuff and just making it better. And also, they're cracking down on passwords. Did you see that?
I did. I don't understand how this is going to be enforceable.
Literally
It's
have
not
no
gonna
clue.
work.
I have no clue how
Surveillance.
they would do
They've
this.
defined what a household means, and now they're surveilling the amount of times
Yes.
they
It's
use the
very
passwords in that household.
non-inclusive that they're trying to tell other people what a household is.
Yeah,
Frankly,
right?
I'm a little bit offended.
Yeah.
It says, the
this is a household.
This company has so far begun testing methods to curb password sharing in Peru, Costa Rica, and Chile. What did they do?
Again, why?
Why Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru? What did they do to you?
Maybe
messed
it's
up.
just there's smaller markets they can use like as test subjects.
Well, then they're testing
Great.
on. That's
not
awful.
okay.
That's just evil.
Yeah, this is Netflix version of Tuskegee.
Maybe they're actually just less interested in
Probably.
Netflix than us.
No, they seem mad down there. They seem upset.
They
yeah,
are.
so yeah,
it's
so-
working.
Yeah.
Under the new policy initiative, subscribers in those countries are supposed to be subject to additional charges to add up to 2 sub-accounts located outside of their household. However, a new report from tech publication Rest of the World found that the early stages have been met with limited success. Rest of the World spoke with over a dozen Netflix subscribers in Peru who said that the messaging around the policy had been unclear and that not all users have been subject to the same policies. It does remind me of I don't know if you guys have ever tried to unsubscribe from Amazon Prime. It's like, you want to sign up for Amazon
They
Prime
ask you, "Are you sure?"
like 4 times, and they hide the button up in the corner.
They
Like,
send you a
Yeah,
suicide hotline.
you want to subscribe, they're like, 1 click, you're done. They literally make your bank account appear out of thin air. They don't even need your credit card. They'll just figure
Yeah.
it out. But if you want to unsubscribe, like, are you sure? Are you really sure? Is this your phone? Are you sure you're unsubscribed? Like, that's kind of seems like what they're going to do
Yeah.
here is they're going to make it really hard for them to know, are you in a 2-person household? Yes, no, maybe. And then you don't know what to answer.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
We're gonna have drones outside the windows counting people in the house.
I have 12 children, and they all use Netflix.
Yep.
Perfect.
So
And it's all different houses, but they're all connected to the main house on the
Yeah.
same property. Does that count?
They all have different dads,
That-
so they're all in
Oof,
different
there you go.
houses.
There you
Perfect.
go.
In general, most users reported feeling a lack of clarity around how Netflix defines a household. Again, that's problematic, man. In response, a Netflix representative told Newsweek that the company has been clear about the definition for years. Unfortunately, nobody knows what that means, so it's not actually clear. He says, quote, while we started working on page sharing over 18 months ago, we have been clear for 5 years that a Netflix account is for people who live together in a single household, a Netflix spokesperson told Newsweek. The millions of members who are actively sharing an account in these countries have been notified by email, but given the importance of the change, we are ramping up in-product notifications more slowly. We're pleased with the response to date. So is the idea that like do they just guilt you into it? Like, I better not log in from here. My
Is it
dad's
just an
using
honor
it upstairs.
system?
Yeah, it's just like
That's what it was.
I solemnly swear that I will not watch Netflix in my apartment. I will go home to my parents' house to watch it. We're gonna do
well,
that.
I'm sure that like with people's IP addresses,
yeah,
it would be easy to tell.
And they'll just block it, right? If you have more than 2 or something.
Somebody in the comments might be able to
But
like.
you can have a VPN on when you're using
Yeah.
Netflix that lets you watch things that are available in other countries.
They're
people
gonna
in
outlaw VPNs next.
The people in Peru just use VPNs just to
I don't
not
know
get
how
the
you-
annoying notifications about the household stuff.
Right.
Like they put them. Well, plus if you have a VPN and you use it, you can unlock content that's regional to different
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like for a long time, there were certain things that I would watch that was only available in like the UK
Right.
that you wouldn't be able to get here. So I just think it's like it's like with most laws, it feels unenforceable. Like the policy doesn't feel like something they can actually enforce.
They'll find a way.
They'll find a way.
They'll find a way.
But
When it comes to their money.
like I said, at the end, well, that's why I think that it's possible that they may end up like pivoting away if they're smart in an economic downturn to different. To maybe making more general content that's less niche, because we are no longer in an economy where you can just make whatever you want and subsidize it with your profits. Now they may have to focus on it for the good of the company.
Yeah.
So there's some super chats. There's at least one.
Waffle Sensei says Rodney Mullen was the greatest skateboarder ever, and his content is basically all internet content. Check it out, y'all.
Yep. It's one of those things where now the industry has shifted in skating that like most of it's online. Obviously, because that's the way you market everything these days.
Yeah.
But it was just a very unique time when everything where unless you were making it for full length videos, it was seen as somehow lowbrow that I railed against back then.
Did you want to like get magazines too? Is that something?
Yeah, no,
from,
like I had
like
pictures.
Thrasher or-
I had in blading magazines, but
Oh,
I had pictures in magazines, but that was more like because that was once a month at the time, and it
Right.
became even less than that down the road.
Yeah.
That wasn't as much the focus, but you're skating every day. You're not shooting. Usually, if you're shooting for a magazine, that's picked out ahead of time,
Right.
and you go out on specific days. Stuff that's good to film isn't always necessarily the same thing as stuff that's good for photos.
Right.
There is such a thing as tricks for photo that don't translate as well to video,
funny.
depending on the right photographer. So it's a whole different process.
Yeah.
So
By the way, John Lee, who said that he works for that doctor, expert witness, he's like, do you want evidence? So yes, the answer is yes, I want evidence that that's actually who you work for.
he wants evidence. All right. So we're going to move on for now, and we're going to talk about this article about Warner Brothers wants Joker director Todd Phillips to develop more DC Universe films. And I think almost everyone here would think that that's a fantastic idea.
I think so. Yeah.
I figured you specifically would be very on board
I think
with
people
this.
will complain that he probably because he's been open about not knowing the world.
That's
as well.
yes.
Right?
There's comparisons in here to him and Kevin Feige,
Right.
which are not really apt comparisons, because he wouldn't be good as a Kevin Feige role,
Yeah.
because Kevin Feige is a genius when it comes to understanding the Marvel universe from the comics up.
Right.
So
I'm sorry. There's a spider
Yes.
about to crawl into my mouth.
I was pointing this out the other day.
Um,
We are
I
literally.
like this guy.
He's a good friend
You're
of yours
not
now.
gonna move him?
I'm just gonna let him be.
Okay.
This is how you start a.
I would be screaming if
mutant.
I were you.
No, I'm gonna bring him over here. But anyway, I think
Kevin Feige is almost a once-in-a-lifetime find for that industry, being that he is both a corporate executive and knowledgeable about the content and material. And he's not just a corporate executive; he's a very good corporate executive. He's very good at his job. DC has the likes of Walter Hamada, but he's not the same level of corporate executive that someone like that Kevin Feige is. So they need to figure out what they're going to do as
Right.
far as restructuring this, because we're in the middle of the Discovery Plus takeover with David Zaslav.
I just think all these superhero movies, especially the Marvel ones, they're vapid. Right?
Yes,
There's
they
no
are.
character development whatsoever, and there's maybe a hint of character in those movies. Well, that's not Todd Phillips' thing in DC, because the Joker was all character. It was it was a portrait of a person, and I also think he has a lot of range as like a director.
Well, he came
Do
from
you
comedy.
think that he could do
Yeah.
a second Joker film with Joaquin
I don't think they
Phoenix,
need
or would
to.
that be a bad
Always
idea?
weird about sequels,
I
but
don't
I don't
think
know.
they should.
Understandably so.
It could work. I trust him as a storyteller, and like when I say his range is like, I think one of his first movies or documentaries was like about Gigi Allen. You know who that is? Like crazy punk rocker, and that, and then he did the Hangover stuff.
Yeah,
and now
he
he's
came from
Joker.
comedy. He came from comedy, saying like you're like they're basically the studios don't allow them to make the comedy movies that they used to anymore. So he had to go and do something else.
Right, and I think about what I've told you guys a while back. I learned my lesson with Heath Ledger in terms of superhero stuff. Is like once you laugh at someone for the choice that the studio has made, they can prove you wrong. And I was obviously I was proven wrong with Heath.
So
I
it
think he
says
could do it.
It says sources say that he's at. We'll just start from the top. It says no one expected Todd Phillips' Joker to be the epic box office success that it was, especially the executives at Warner Brothers. Well, the studio is under new management with David Zaslav. Yes, he's taking over from Discovery Plus, taking the lead after the company merged with Discovery. He's all about the money, and in a recent report from Variety, he has asked Phillips to come back to develop more content for the DC universe. So I think that this is a good idea on a surface level of like one project. I don't think he's the guy you want trying to build a connected
whole.
I don't really care for connected universes anymore anyways, because I feel like it's a death knell to the ability for these people to be creative. If everything has to compact itself into a similar tone, it ends up becoming homogenized and boring. Marvel can pull it off because they've been doing it for 10 years, and even then the interest there is clearly
they're not pulling it off because everything is low stakes
And
in their movies.
and the interest is
So
starting to
true.
wane right now.
Is it?
I think so.
How do you know
They're
that?
still making bank.
Because Eternals and Shang-Chi didn't make the money that they would have wanted them to.
Yeah.
Like, sure,
But the
Spider-Man
Spider-Man,
did.
yeah.
Spider-Man is also a joint project with Sony. What was the one that the other one that we just saw? Doctor Strange came out, did great for the first week, had a huge drop off the
Right.
second week. I don't know if the interest is there the way it was before.
I would be interested in Todd Phillips doing like a small thing, like what
He
what's
could
his
do-
name did the Christian Bale movies.
Yeah. A trilogy.
A trilogy or something like that.
Or,
yeah.
or if they wanted to put him in charge of Elseworld stories, which is non-canon DC stories that are meant to be subversive to the source material, I could see him doing something in a pocket universe for that.
Yeah.
But they're already not connecting Pattinson's Batman to the main universe. They're leaving it where it's basically now without Cavill, without Affleck, it's Aquaman and Wonder Woman run your main universe, and Ezra Miller, who's going to be back in the news tomorrow. We're going to talk more about him tomorrow.
I'm so excited.
Is his own issues going on there. So
Yeah.
they need to find a way to clean house here. But it says, as you know, Warner Brothers doesn't have a single voice guiding the DC universe the way Kevin Feige does with Marvel. It seems like Zaslav possibly wants Phillips to be in that kind of role, and I do not think that is a good idea. Well, I think that the WB needs to have its own version of Kevin Feige. Phillips is not the guy, so this agrees with me. Sure, I'd like to see him direct another DC film, but he doesn't have what it takes to guide the franchise. Warner Brothers is working with several directors right now on several projects, including Matt Reeves, James Wan, James Gunn, and Patty Jenkins. I could see James Wan doing it, but he's a director. He's not the same. That's not the same thing as the person who does what Feige does. Feige isn't directing the movies. Phillips is directing the movie. They don't need a director. They need a knowledgeable executive. I don't know who that would be.
The more I think about it, though, I could be into Phillips overseeing it. I can't imagine he'd be interested, really.
I don't think he would.
But I mean, the amount of passion he put into the Joker in terms of like recreating that look of the 70s and like looking at movies like Taxi Driver, stuff like that. That's the kind of world I like so much to see Batman in and DC in. Like when I saw the Batman, I know I'm always the one to bring this movie up, but you already did, so it's okay. With Pattinson, the things I liked about it the most were like it was old school looking. It was Batman as like a detective, that gritty world, and I think he could create that. If he could extend all that out throughout a whole world, I'd be surprised.
I've
It'd be
watched.
awesome.
I rewatched it twice. I like it less every time I watch it. Thank
I
you.
mean,
So-
anything that can deviate from nonstop, like mind, like
Heroin.
fatiguing CGI.
I was saying, have
anything
Yes.
other than that, please.
have the executive
Yes.
come in day one and say like limited CGI.
Because it's like a comic book is static images that you can touch and you can watch like different parts of it like on a page. And it's not just attacking your eyeballs,
Right.
like assaulting your senses.
Exactly. Yeah, reading a comic book, it demands a lot of the reader to
Yeah.
like come up with all that stuff. So when
Yes.
you're like sitting there getting inundated by the CGI, like
Which
you're
was
saying,
Doctor Strange.
Yep.
right?
in a
That's how I think of
nutshell.
Transformers. Sorry, Brett,
Hated it.
but that's how I feel.
That's okay. So here's the others. Toby Emmerich steps down as head of DC as Warner Brothers and DC Films. So he has been in charge. So it says Toby Emmerich is out as the head of Warner Brothers Motion Pictures, which also includes DC. Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi are taking over because they just came from MGM. MGM is, if I remember correctly, got bought out by Amazon Prime, or maybe they
Oh,
just
wow.
no.
I didn't know that.
No, I could be wrong. They just sold them James Bond. Either they bought James Bond
Oh,
or
yeah,
they
I
bought
think
Warner
you're
Brothers,
right, yeah.
and James Bond is one of the properties that they bought. Somebody will have to
Yeah,
fact check me on that.
Amazon did buy
MGM? Okay. All right. So it says Toby Emmerich
Wow.
is stepping down in the latest of the Warner Brothers Discovery. From Warner Brothers Discovery, CEO David Zaslav, who has been cleaning house at Warner Brothers as a number of executives have been ousted. And just last week, we saw it reported that Zaslav is looking over the big J.J. Abrams deal and reevaluating, hopefully, which means good things for Henry Cavill as Superman. I would love to see Henry Cavill
the
come
only
back as
Superman.
Regarding Emmerich, it says that he decided to step down after he would have had to given up oversight of DC and animation. So right now, the idea is that it's like a trinity of projects. It's Warner Brothers Pictures, DC Entertainment, and Warner Brothers Animation. Now, Warner Brothers Animation folds heavily into DC because some of their most successful animated things on streaming are their DC animated movies, which I have a very strong. I love the DC animated far more than I love any of the live action.
Like the old school ones? Or
Well,
there's new
that
ones? I
too.
don't even know about the new
No,
ones.
I've been in the middle of rewatching Batman the Animated Series
Yeah,
and
oh,
Batman
man.
Beyond. I
It's good.
rewatched Under the Red Hood the other day.
Wow.
All really, really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like they need. So what the idea here is that they want them to oversee all three divisions at once because they want to pare down in executives. But they're going from Emmerich, who by the way is related to. Nolan Emmerich, sorry, the guy from The Americans. I'm sorry, not Nolan. He's a character in The Americans. He's a really good stage actor. But it says Michael DeLuca is a longtime producer in Hollywood and has been produced The Mask, Boogie Nights, Wag the Dog, Blade and Blade 2. That is strong. Moneyball, the Ghost Rider movies, 50 Shades of Grey. And when he was at New Line, he greenlit David Fincher's Seven. So the guy knows.
Yeah, he also did Magnolia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he knows the industry.
Yeah.
It says Pam Abdi produced 47 Ronin, Kill the Messenger, A Million Little Pieces, Queen and Slim, and Ombre. I haven't seen any of those. I heard about Queen and Slim. That's the only one on there.
It's funny they reference all the movies that I don't care about because like she also did Garden State, Man on the Moon, and How High.
Well, those are
Classic.
actually classics.
Those are
like
classics.
those are classics.
Yeah.
Like why? It's like they're trying to make her look bad next to
I
this
know,
dude.
yeah. Who
Like
wrote
they're-
this?
the-
Who wrote this?
Who wrote that? I think this is an anti-woman writer here.
Matt McGloin? That's a fake name.
No, I read a lot of his articles.
Fake.
I'm standing up for Matt McGloin. It was an oversight.
Okay.
What it means for the DC brand is currently unknown, as Deadline mentions that the fates of DC boss Walter Hamada and other executives who have been loyal to Emmerich, i.e. New Line's Richard Brenner and Warner Brothers Picture Group Carolyn Blackwood, are unclear. I think that they should scrap it all and start from scratch because it's clearly not working. Keep the stars you have there and focus on making individual movies and not making it about like an extended universe. I'm sick of the extended universe stuff. So I just don't know if right now there's a place for DC trying to copy Marvel because they shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
But if they want one guy, they're still moving to two executives, right? So it was Toby Emmerich before, right? Now it's those two people. It's Pam and what's the other guy's name? DeLuca.
Michael DeLuca.
So they have a strong track record. From what I read,
Yeah.
DeLuca is he's like an actor's. He's an actor's executive, meaning that he wants to get the films made, whereas Zaslav is very much a businessman, and he wants to do it for the cheapest amount of money,
Right.
and they need to combine their
Yeah.
forces and make something
That
better
could be
for
good.
Warner Brothers. Because it is almost a crime that they have that much strong IP and are making such little out of it. Like to have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and only have the movies you have really is a crime against the industry.
What is
I
the
just
J.J.
didn't
Abrams
want to
deal?
watch
Sorry.
the Batman.
No.
It's long. It's like
It
2 hours
seemed
and
like such a
55 minutes.
slog.
Yeah.
It is. Like a lot of people liked it. I liked it more the first time, and I liked it less the second 2 times I watched it. Basically, the J.J. Abrams one is he was producing they're making like a race swapped Superman with Ta-Nehisi Coates, and he got like a multi-picture deal. It was like $400 million.
Oh my goodness.
And they're reevaluating it because
Right.
that's what happens when mergers happen is that
Right.
the books get shuffled around, and they're like, do we need this? Do we need this? Do we need this? They're working to figure out if that's something they need. J.J. Abrams does better with his original stuff, not so much when he does
Yeah.
a
What was
property.
the last good J.J. Abrams movie?
Well, the last good show he had was Alias. I love the show.
That was a while
Alias.
back,
That was,
right?
and he was a producer on Person of Interest. But in general, his when he did Star Wars, meh.
Didn't he make Lost?
Yes.
And he did Lost.
Well,
That's
yeah,
a
he
good
produced
show.
Lost.
He produced Lost.
Yeah.
So he's
was a good show.
his, like I said, his track record with original properties are good.
Fringe.
His
Produced.
oh my god.
What?
Yes, I
What?
completely forgot about Fringe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. He has a fantastic track record with original
With
properties.
original.
He has an
But
awful track record when he has to try and make something for other people.
Yeah. Like Star Trek 2. Did you say
And
that already?
Star Trek and yep.
He ruined 2 of those
There's
franchises?
only so many lens
My
flares you can
goodness.
include before people
You
are
know how he
like,
got his start?
how?
He made music for the
He does the theme songs for all his
what
TV
was
shows.
that? What was the show? Not Blossom. Oh dang, I forgot. It was one with Carrie, and she was a girl in college in the city. I forget it now. I want to say
I don't
Buffy,
know.
not the Vampire Slayer. I forget now.
I don't know.
Ah,
I don't
but
know.
that's how he got his start.
Okay.
He wrote the theme song to that.
So he did the theme song for Alias. He did the theme song for did he do the theme song for Lost? Maybe somebody in the comments says did.
I don't know
Did
about
J.J.
that one.
Abrams do the theme song for Lost? He also did the theme song for Person of Interest, and he did the theme song for what was the other one in there? So he that's and for Fringe.
Dang,
and
he
for
did Fringe too. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so-
a good one. Oh, Felicity.
Felicity. Okay. All right.
Felicity.
So I would like to see things improve over at Warner Brothers. I just don't think Todd Phillips is the one to do it. So
Yeah.
super chats. There was a couple.
Yes. Satan Miles said, "Great point, Brett, about how they homogenize the characters in a franchise."
That's the product of when you have to tell one consistent vision across multiple films. The end result is just that the characters all start to blend together. That's it's where like the idea of an individualized movie and an expanded universe kind of it's where they hit their problems because it's so much of storytelling, especially in film, it comes down to camera work, writing, how it's presented, how it's shot, and when everything has to kind of fit in together in the same fluid continuity, you lose the ability to differentiate
Yeah.
one another.
You
And
said
I-
it best earlier.
yeah.
It's paint by numbers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's horrible.
This one made me laugh a little. Alan Rogers said, "Anyone who wants a sequel to Joker never deserved to see Joker. It's not that. It's peak incel cinema. Leave it alone."
I don't know about incel cinema, but that was I do
That's
remember.
what incel cinema is, and sign me up.
I do know that all the reporters, when the movie was coming
You're
out,
playing into
were,
their hands by saying that.
we're calling it an incel movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this wasn't a super chat, but someone said apparently Zendaya is playing Amber in the Disney adaptation of the Depp Heard trial.
Perfect.
We're
Who
so
then? Who plays
excited
Johnny
to
Depp?
see that.
Then does John Boyega play Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Zac Efron.
No. It'd have to be. I think John Boyega. John Boyega and Zendaya are Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
John Lee said, "I guess the best evidence I have is my work card showing I work for blah 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 in blah blah blah. Unless you have
Send
an
us
email or something, I
Nope,
can't show
sorry.
you."
No,
That's-
send us your social security numbers.
Driver's
no.
license shows it. Yeah, don't do that.
Do not
Don't
do that.
do that. We are not actually saying you should do that. And then there was one more there.
Waffle Sensei said someone just needs to tell these film executives that instead of equally distributing funds in 1,000 directions, they need to make cuts to special effects and focus everything on the writing.
Yeah, dude, he's
There
like
you go.
9,000% right
That's
there.
exactly
Like
right.
there's so much you can do by limiting the budget on special effects because it forces the writers and the stunt teams to be more engaged. I call back to the I don't know if anybody's
Camera.
what.
Can you
Yeah,
go to
yes,
single
I can
camera?
go to single camera.
Thanks.
That's I don't know if you've ever seen the show Burn Notice.
No.
So this is a show by Matt Nix from like 2007 to 2013. And the show was basically about a spy played by Jeffrey Donovan. And the idea is that he's like been disavowed from the government. And it's like half serious, half quirky, but it becomes more serious towards the last 3 seasons.
Right.
But one of the reasons that the show's action scenes work so well is Matt Nix loved practical explosions. Like that was his thing, right? So he was really big into being able to make stuff blow up. So when you're seeing it,
Like really?
you're actually seeing it from multiple angles every single time.
Right.
And that made you connect more with the characters because it felt more real as things were going on. And of course, then as they add, you all right over there?
Yes.
She's all right.
Stop looking at
We're not. So as things are going on, you get more attached to the characters because you're literally seeing them inches away from fire,
Which
away
is why I think Tom Cruise is our greatest living actor.
See, he agrees. He's with me.
He believes it more than anybody.
Greatest?
Greatest
alive.
Greatest living actor alive. Because he
Okay.
believes it. Because he's willing. Because he literally puts his life on the line.
Okay, maybe
Like,
maybe greatest
that's
living
why I like
action
it.
star.
No, I'll say actor.
Oh wow!
I'll say actor.
Dang,
I'll say
hot
actor.
take right there.
I'll say actor because he's done things that are not action that are also amazing.
Like what?
Interview with a Vampire.
He's
I
really good.
haven't
movie.
seen that.
Oh man. I mean, there's a
should watch
ton
that.
I can't think of right now.
Vanilla
but-
Sky.
Oh my God, Vanilla Sky is one of my favorites. Actually, you're
There
right.
you go.
That movie's so sad with one of the best Radiohead songs ever.
And a hilarious. If watch Vanilla Sky for the hilariously in between time we are in technology. All the technology is really funny in that movie because it's like we're at like this weird phase where remember the MacBooks that were like or the iMacs that were like bulky in different colors. All the electronics look like as bulky. It's hilarious.
It looked futuristic then.
Yes.
But I want to go back to what you were saying about the writers will be forced to do better. I don't think a lot of these writers can be forced to be better.
I don't think they're good enough.
They don't know how to write.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have lost the ability to write in these big studios, and the studios don't care because, like you said, they're relying on the graphics to take over.
Yep.
Right, because we're so drugged up on that stuff that it's like,
Exactly.
they're fine.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
you were saying earlier with like being inundated with the CGI. It's gross. But yeah, Tom Cruise is the best, and I hope he hears this.
Well,
He will.
he's a big fan of us.
He does watch.
Yes.
We talk regularly.
Yep, he's a big fan. He's still trying to get me into Scientology. I'm pushing him away. I'm like, no, Tom, I want nothing to do with it.
He's like asking to be a guest on the show, and we're like, dude, we have our own thing going on.
Yeah, you gotta
eventually, maybe.
I'm like, have your people call my people. We'll talk a lot.
But it's
we'll do
also
lunch.
because the Scientology thing with him. That's like he believes that stuff so much, where he truly does believe in those.
So
things.
it actually helps him.
Yeah,
like
I think
man,
he
that's
lives
terrifying.
in a world where these things are super real and pressing to him. That's not healthy.
No, not at all.
But it makes for good movie making.
Not good for us. All right. We're gonna talk Podluck, and we are going to talk about the Pinocchio movie that apparently nobody likes. Did anybody here? You guys have all seen the trailer. I wonder if anybody in the comments saw the trailer. So it says tens of thousands dislike Disney Plus Pinocchio trailer. Maybe that's because there's no actual Pinocchio in the actual trailer.
Is there really not even one clip?
I
don't
see.
think there is, unless there's
if
like
he wasn't
Is
memorable
he
enough to be
remain a wooden doll the whole time?
They show probably not, but they do show a hand,
Yeah.
not of the puppet, but it's like his glove.
Mm.
Geppetto's looking at it longingly.
But that's it. That he's not there.
Yeah.
You're not going to get to see him. So it
Yeah.
says.
Why?
It was a teaser. They'll likely save it for the first full
They're
trailer.
doing what they did with Bane in the last Batman, where like they're going to show you a bunch of trailers, they're going to hype it up, and here he is, and it's going to be some boring crap.
It's going to be a boring CGI Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So it says, in what looks to be another big Disney Plus bust, tens of thousands of fans have disliked the Pinocchio trailer that was released earlier today, starring Tom Hanks. You might wonder how they did that, given that Netflix or that YouTube removed the. What's up?
Yeah. Why? Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. Like,
Yep. So
let me go look at the trailer.
So it says through YouTube, though YouTube has hidden the number of dislikes, there are various browser extensions that enable you to be able to see the number of dislikes, which far outnumbers the likes for the Pinocchio trailer, as the flick currently has 78,000 dislikes and only 22,000 likes, which is a staggering difference. They got
YouTube
ratio.
really saved a lot of people's asses doing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in particular? Like, did you
The
get
president.
YouTube Rewind mainly.
Yeah, nobody likes YouTube. Will Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith got saved by not having to look at the dislikes that
Any
show
White
up on
House briefing.
basically anything like that. So it says, regarding what's not to like, well, for one, the trailer doesn't even feature Pinocchio, but looks to be another woke production from Disney, as it features what looks to be a female version of Okay, and then race swapped a race swapped version of the Blue Fairy. Is that
Female
a
version of Pinocchio?
is that a
Where did he get that part from?
That's
the one thing I
not.
don't-
In
Can somebody
there.
tell me, is that a character? Is that a typo, or is that a different character?
See, in the world of Latinxes, I don't know.
Okay.
I
have no
think
idea.
That that's a
Novtio.
typo because
This is Matt
V,
McGloin again.
V is right next to C if you look down at your
So
keyboard.
it's
True.
it's a typo. All right.
Yes.
So they believe it's a female
All right,
version
you're
of
off the hook,
Pinocchio,
Matt.
but
It's the Blue Fairy. I just you shouldn't be bald. I think
the fairy
in
should
that
be
role.
bald. Okay.
that's a little disturbing.
So it
Mary is
says
very against bald fairies. I like how
Just
specific
why?
it is, but I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Zemeckis is a fantastic director, but I don't care about any of the Disney live actions. When we watched the trailer earlier, it says from the studio that brought you Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, why would you brag about that?
You do see his actual arm and hand. I was wrong. It's not just a glove.
Okay.
That's
They're
all-
talking
that's it.
about Emma Watson, right?
Yeah. No, that's what
That
I'm
was
saying.
like notoriously horrible.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
They
her
say like
singing in that movie was just atrocious.
in the promotional material for this, they're like from the studio that brought you Beauty and the Beast and the Lion King. I'm like, two of literally the most lifeless live action.
I never saw the live action.
Oh,
Lion
it's
King.
it's terrifying. It's the only thing in the
No,
world where when,
Terrifying.
it's hilarious when you watch him fall and die. It's actually kind of like amusing looking because of how like there's no emotion on his face really because it's that live action.
Yeah, the cartoon was way sadder.
Yeah, because they can actually emote with their eyes and their
Right.
face, which they
Yeah.
can't do in the live act. In it's not live action. It's
No,
like
they killed a lion making that scene. I can't believe them.
how could they do that? Where was PETA when that
There's-
was going
yeah,
on?
there's
Disney.
just a warning
Jeez.
that's like animals were in fact harmed in the making of this film.
They just put that at the beginning.
Yeah.
They're just like we'll just settle the lawsuits later and
Yes.
we'll take our profits. It'll be fine.
They were sacrificed to your god of choice.
Yeah, your God being Disney having to remake all
Yeah,
their.
Walt.
When are they going to do? When are they going to make Bambi? That's what I want to know. When are they going to
Oh,
remake
It's
Jeez.
inevitable.
live action
Yeah.
Does anybody actually want to see a live
Oh my
action
gosh.
Bambi?
No.
Literally everything has to be remade. Every show
Yes.
has to be rebooted.
Yep. Hannah
And
Claire would be
every
having a fit.
animated movie has to be made live action,
Yeah.
and every live action has to be animated, and we can't create anything original.
They want to destroy the classics
Yep.
in every type of industry.
I do believe that's part of it. Is like they want to
Yes.
change it so that it's not what it
Oh
was
yeah,
before.
and if something's based on real events, then they're gonna like ruin your perception of that too.
Of course.
They made they race swapped Anne Boleyn in an Anne Boleyn movie,
Oh,
an Anne Boleyn TV show.
But I think that is by design. I'm
No,
not being
it absolutely
hyperbolic.
is. Totally, yeah.
I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this is the same type of stuff that happened during the Cultural Revolution in China, where they take something from the classics. You know, China had a much longer empire behind it than we do now, and you destroy it to
Yep.
restart something else. And this is when I see this crap, that's all it is. Is just they're just pooping on the past.
So it says that Pinocchio is played by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. So I don't know if that. How could he be? I guess like I mean
His voice.
Just
It's-
the voice.
Yeah,
actor.
so he has a high pitched voice, so they're saying that it could be a woman. I don't
Oh,
know if
I don't know.
I don't know if I buy that. It's got Keegan Michael Key, it's got Lorraine Bracco, both of which are fantastic actors, but I
Yeah.
really have no interest in seeing this. 70, what was that number again? 78,000 dislikes. I'd be curious to know if anybody like.
But then again, like, does Pinocchio have some kind of diehard fan base? I
Maybe.
think
It
people
might
are just
be one of those
disliking Disney
stories.
Plus stuff for the sake of it, just because you know it's
Parents,
going to be
you know,
mediocre.
I think it's directed towards a lot of people who have young kids now, and those parents, like, because nostalgia is such a drug today, the parents are like, oh, we could take our kids to see this without thinking twice about it, because they've been remaking stuff in Hollywood forever. They were remaking like Hitchcock films when he was still alive.
Yep.
It's what they do because they're talentless hacks 85% of the time. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I
it's
do
just
like
cannibalizing things
Yes.
all the time.
because they have no idea. Like, even to kind of go back to Netflix real quick, Stranger Things, as cool as it might be, and I do enjoy it, it's just nostalgia on drugs. It's just
Yep.
like redoing all the cool things that were
Yeah,
done
but
in
at
the
least
80s
that's
and
an
90s.
original
Yeah,
property.
even if it's
Ish.
an original property, they're
Ish.
going to be like so derivative of like they want the nostalgia factor of it being set in the 80s, for
Yep.
example, and it's like something they hugely play into.
It's original property, but it's all using the patterns of
It's
things
like
that have already been done.
derivative of like E.T., for example.
There's a-
And
That's one.
Spielberg, Any Spielberg, for
Yeah.
sure.
There's a
yes.
great meme where it says, I know for a fact that Stranger Things didn't take place in the 80s because there's no carpeting in the kitchens and nothing's brown and green. Like that's
True.
which hit me because I literally had carpeting in my kitchen growing up
What?
That's
and
amazing.
a refrigerator that was brown and green and literally, like, have you ever seen that meme? It's like your fridge today will break down. Your fridge when you were a kid, it's like, I am immortal, I am time itself. Like that fridge is
So
likely
true.
still alive somewhere in a landfill keeping something cool, but they weren't able to capture that because they're taking they're not taking what it was actually like to live in the 80s. They're taking the best aspects that you remember.
Yeah.
Taking
and-
some synth in the background of every scene. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's sad. Like, and the other thing is when I was watching this trailer and, they say all those things like, from the people who brought you this and that, you could tell like this is supposed to make people emotional. Like they're trying.
The
I
music
felt
is
nothing.
there
Yes.
to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
but it
the
does
music like didn't do it for me either because it just sounds like some kind of fan made thing from TikTok.
Right.
Well, no,
Yeah.
that's the
I didn't
It
like
is TikTok-y.
I liked it. I thought the
It's
music
like
was
the
fine.
girl on TikTok who made that
Oh,
song
no,
that
I'm-
was like, I'm mad at Disney.
Not the
It's like
song.
that.
The score before it, in the trailer
Oh.
before it.
Oh, I'm talking about the thing in the beginning of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry. You're talking about Stranger Things.
No, I was
yeah.
talking about Pinocchio.
Okay.
Yeah, the beginning
I
of this.
enjoyed the score at the beginning. I didn't care for that's a famous song.
Maybe it's
but
not that I don't like the
Yeah.
score. It's that they're trying to achieve an emotion
That's
that
not there.
It's just not
That
going to make it
doesn't
happen.
exist because
Yeah.
everyone has had their soul crushed and children aren't innocent anymore, and it's also like their fault and
Yeah.
F you.
Which is almost more insulting.
When's the last time have you read this the story of Pinocchio recently? I happen to read it quite often to my children.
It's probably
it's-
way darker than anyone
I
realizes.
forgot
right?
that they basically go to Epstein Island. Like it is kids are taken.
Whoa.
They're dropped off on an island.
I never saw that version. That's
geez.
that's
And
terrifying.
they filmed this movie at the actual island. I can't believe it. But no, it is really bizarre that the kids go there and they're kind of like their souls are tainted to become these donkeys. I mean, it's a really dark and depressing story.
Yeah.
Like
All
most of Disney
children's
stories.
fables are
Oh,
actually.
they are.
They've just adapted them so many times over that
Yeah.
you lose the original meaning.
Yep, that's true.
So is this is there here's a good question. Is there like somebody you could trust? Is there like a filmmaker working today that you feel like you could trust to make a movie like this and actually turn it out the way you want it to?
My joke answer would be Todd Phillips, and my serious answer would be Tim Burton, but from the 90s.
Okay, so 90s Tim Burton could pull this off.
But not CGI. Puppets. I'm a big Muppet fan. I love the Muppets. I love the Muppet movie. That
Yeah,
Jason
if we could
Segel
get Jim
made.
Henson involved.
Yeah, dig up Jim Henson real quick.
Just go out there with a shovel and
So are they going to be using CGI for all of Pinocchio's
looks like it.
movements?
Lame.
Lame.
It looks like the little cricket person.
Yep.
It looks
Jiminy
like all
Cricket.
CGI.
So dumb. It's literally a puppet. You can do whatever you want
Right.
with it.
Imagine being a puppeteer right now. I'd be like,
Right.
They could have hired
They're
me.
wasting their talents.
They coulda
have you
hired
ever
me.
seen the? I'm sure you probably haven't, but have you ever seen the behind the scenes stuff about doing the when they made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies? Like
No.
all the work that went into making those animatronic
that was a
suits.
Henson.
That was a Henson
Yeah,
project,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So all the work that went into making those all that stuff work, it's crazy.
Yeah, because their eyes.
but
their
it's
faces
so
were
much
wild.
more real
Yeah.
than everything you see today.
Yeah.
So it makes me sad.
The CGI just cheapens the whole experience to me.
And it never feels real. It never feels like you're actually experiencing any of it.
Yeah.
So there was one that was supposed to go off there.
Oh, from Taryn Jones?
Yes, there was one that was supposed to go off there.
Okay.
It didn't go off.
Sorry about that, Taryn Jones. Brett, you're my PCC spirit guide. You always mention stuff no one in my circle knows. Firefly, Alias, Burn Notice, etc. Oldies,
Nice.
goodies.
That's because I can't stand anything that comes out now. And all I love is stuff that was like, whenever I can put on stuff like that, White Collar is another good example of a show like that. Like, they're so gloriously devoid of anybody caring about politics or intersectionalism or any of the stuff that has infested Hollywood or made Hollywood lose their way as far as storytelling, that you can watch it and know that the story writer for a show called White Collar was a guy named Jim Campolongo, who went on to work for Marvel, and it almost felt like the biggest insult and downgrade to his abilities as like a writer and as a story executive, because what his job was to do was to take a show, and basically what it was it was one of the more brilliant examples of how they could do weekly episodes that could be self-contained, like we talked about the other day. If you're not able to understand a story on its own, you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
Serialized entertainment being what it was, that everyone needs all the stories to connect. They found ways in those shows, especially those blue sky dramas from USA Network back then, that all the episodes were self-contained, but contained just enough of the overarching plot that that they were woven into every episode, where you could watch it on its own. That part might be interesting, but wasn't relevant to the story at hand.
Yep.
And it all was pulled together in a way that felt so far away and above what was available on other network cable stuff. Like
Right.
at that, I mean, we had Breaking Bad at that time. We had the really high end stuff that everyone loves. But I think that the smaller stuff gets forgotten and had to work under smaller budgets
Yep.
with less talent, and had to do a lot more with a lot less. And I think, like, to see a writer like that get an upgrade in his career and go to Marvel, but have to work in such a stifling environment
Yeah.
that his talents, the stuff that he used to make those shows work,
Yeah.
felt like that was like heartbreaking.
That's what
to me.
studios do.
Yep, it's a damn shame.
I was trying to think, like, while you were talking about things you've liked. Like, I one of my favorite TV shows of all time was like a semi-recent, maybe it's 5 years old now. I love The Leftovers.
Never
that,
saw it.
That show was like, did you ever see that show?
Yeah.
It was I think it only had 3 seasons on HBO. It was Justin Theroux and Carrie Coon, and a lot of other people.
Carrie Coon's great.
Carrie Coon is one of the best.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah. Yes, she was amazing in that.
Yep.
That show is incredible. It's a great novel. And then the novelist and one of the guys from Lost, I forget which writer, Damon Lindelof, they wrote.
Oh, the ones who
Leftovers.
ruined.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Oh,
forget
no,
which
wait,
one
no,
did
you
that.
liked the Watchmen TV series, right?
I did.
Okay. Well,
I didn't like
Nobody's perfect,
all of
ladies
it.
and
I didn't
gentlemen.
like-
Nobody's perfect.
This is Brett getting back at me for talking smack on Transformers.
This is true.
It's okay. It's okay. I didn't like all of that series, but I loved, there were some scenes in The Watchmen that were great. But The Leftovers is, like, I think one of the best shows ever made. And it was devoid of politics, and it was all about, it's actually, if you watch it now, it's like they wrote it, it's pre-COVID, but it's almost post-COVID.
Yeah.
Because it's a world that's been affected by a horrible trauma, and how, like, everyone's got all the traumas
Okay.
manifest differently in people.
There's a show called The Last Ship on TNT that
Okay.
was about a virus that, like, basically destroys the world, and, like, America has, it's like the last great rah-rah.
That's called
like,
predictive programming.
yes.
Yeah.
It was beautifully done.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Shane, you always make PCC more conspiratorial.
I
Yep.
can't help it.
But the show, it's got Adam Baldwin, and everyone knows he's no, Adam, not Alec. Adam
Which
Baldwin.
one? There's a lot of them.
Adam Baldwin's the one who started Gamergate. He named
Yes.
Gamergate, and he's the one who shot the glass in the original Independence Day movie, and yes,
Yeah,
and he was
so-
also in Chuck, which is probably one of the
Chuck.
greatest shows of all time. If
Yeah, I
nobody's ever
forgot
seen
about
Chuck,
that show. Yeah.
so he's in that show, and it's like America's dealing with, like, there's like an outbreak and a virus, and there's quarantines. It was freaking is great. So there's a couple more there.
Yes, Waffle Sensei said, speaking of Firefly, the greatest show ever that I watch at least twice a year. Aren't they trying to make what is that?
Is she?
Remake? Any updates or opinions on the matter?
We did cover that here quite a while back. Disney, which acquired the rights to 20th Century Fox, does have that property, and they are probably going to ruin it, because it's a good example of, like, there's actors who embody roles so well that it's hard to imagine somebody else playing them, like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Yeah.
This has Malice, played by the great Nathan Fillion, who is a fantastic character
I love
actor.
Castle too.
Yeah, in Castle. I was watching it last night
Oh,
before
great show.
I passed out after
Yep.
my exhausting day. He's a fantastic character actor. I'm not a huge fan of The Rookie, the show that he has on TV now. It's a network show. It's like he plays like a guy who, like, joins the police department in his 40s, and it got weirdly, like, anti-cop for a cop show after 2020 because you have to prostrate.
We need to
Yeah.
appease the studio and the people outside with torches.
Yeah. So, but Nathan Fillion is freaking awesome.
Yeah,
So
he's
I
awesome.
don't know how I don't know if I can expect anything from a Firefly. Imagine that trailer we just watched about Pinocchio, and even in having the cultural significance that a show like Firefly has. So, like, Pinocchio has worldwide significance for a lot of years. Firefly is almost unique in its significance to what it meant for the genre. For genre television, right? Imagine trying to recapture that in an era where they can't even capture it naturally, and then having Disney try to do a soulless version of
I
that.
have a bad feeling about that, Waffles. Stuff like that can be too easy to say, oh, that was liked, let's do it again. but forget what actually made it good.
Yep, they won't. There's a lot of dark themes in that show.
Yeah.
The character played by what's her name from Gotham, Morena Baccarin, is an escort, is like a prostitute. Mal is like there's like Gina Torres's character, and that show has a lot of dark themes for what it does, and it's very, very daring in its storytelling for the time period. Like Fox wanted that show to be a lot darker, but they did. He did not do that. They did not do that with Firefly. So I would like to see that show just get re-released.
I'm always weary. Like, I think Mary made fun of me for liking Twin Peaks recently, and I do. But
I did.
It's fine. And like when they did season 3, I still liked it, but a lot of people are like, you just can't capture the same type of feeling.
It's a different
that happened
time.
In the 90s.
It's a different
right?
time.
It's weird.
I would love to see them try to do Dollhouse, or actually Dark Angel, which was a 2000 sci-fi show with Jessica Alba's launching point. Yeah. The only time James Cameron has ever done television.
He did that show?
That was his show.
Oh, wow.
I would love to see him do them try to. It's literally a show about like a female assassin who is a mutant. So you don't have to. You can every time I make fun of them, like 100-pound women beating up 250-pound Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
I make fun of that concept because, but you can, thank you. You can do that because in that it's got, she's genetically enhanced. Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But for this, it's like, I would like to see them try to do that again with like, Janina Gavankar. She was in Sleepy Hollow and a bunch of other stuff. Like, I would love to see, or Nicole Bahari from Sleepy Hollow. Like, I would love it. There's a bunch of shows that I think they could do that are new enough. But I just don't have any faith that they would be able to pull them off.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen it, or maybe I've missed it. A new Buffy.
They planned that. There was going to be a new Buffy, and it was a really funny example of like, okay, all the people who complained to people watching 80s properties about like, stop race swapping and gender swapping my characters. I love my characters the way they are. Leave them. They're like, oh, quit, you incels. It's your own fault that you can't accept that the world is changing. Those people are now mad because they were going to race swap Buffy. And then they don't see the irony of the fact that they're going to do that to them. And they're like, but I don't like it when they do it to me, to the shows that I like.
Is it, I guess that's a silly question. She'll still be Buffy because it's called Buffy. Because it is built into the idea of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that you could be, it's a new person each time. Yeah. So, but it'll be Buffy. I like Buffy. And I like, I don't want to say 100% like Sabrina, but I like that they turn Sabrina into something dark.
Woo! We did it.
Yes, amazing.
And Waffle Sensei is right. She's a companion, not a prostitute. I'm using the wrong lingo there. The way it's done though is like Mal treats her like a prostitute in the show. There it goes. Shane's like, no, don't throw money at me. I think mine.
Seriously, it's not working.
Woo! This is so much fun, you guys. When's the disco ball dropping?
That's a problem, man. We're not getting. Mine's not good. Desperately phallic.
Did you load your gun?
Up here right now.
Holy moly!
Are you having fun?
This is so cool. I love that you guys pay me like this.
Yes, that's that. Little do you know, Shane is actually getting an appearance fee.
This is how I get it.
For this. So Waffle Sensei is right. Right about that.
St. Miles said, hope this channel actually reaches the companies that will make a difference in making movies.
The sad thing
Tom
is,
Cruise watches, so.
Yeah, we've got him.
That is true.
We've got Tom Cruise going for us.
We've also got Amber Heard.
She's she likes me, which is why I'm not going to have to pay for her OnlyFans.
Yeah, you'll get that free code.
She'll just give me a download code. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic.
Alexandria Oakley said the OG actors have it written into any and all of their contracts that they can drop their current project for a Firefly reboot. Disney would be stupid not to capitalize on that.
I mean, they're right that they would be stupid not to capitalize on it. I just wish they would be stupid enough to not capitalize on it because I just don't have any faith that it will. That it would. Even with the original actors, I just don't know. Like I said, it was a different time in the industry.
Can you think of anything that's been remade with the same cast years later that still worked? I'm trying to think. Like the first thing that came to mind for me was Arrested Development, and I don't think that worked so well.
No,
they remade that.
I can't really think of even like
when does it work?
Even Top Gun Maverick is only Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer are the only ones that really come back for that one. The rest of them are new cast. If anybody in the comments can think of what's a good example of a show coming back after a long hiatus that actually felt like it worked, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Probably for a reason.
Yep.
Dion said, "What do you guys think about Don Bluth movies? He made some of my favorite animations back then. I thought they had more soul and adventure than Disney movies."
I would have to. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I looked it up.
people
So
don't
it's like
talk about those
Anastasia.
these
Wait, he
days.
did Land Before
It's
Time?
Land Before Time.
Oh.
All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh.
That type of stuff.
Oh, American Tail, first
I
movie I
mean,
ever saw in the
those
theater.
animations were objectively better than what we have now.
Absolutely.
Especially when you think about like, what is the one that just came out that was like the red panda or something?
Up? No, not Up.
No. Well, they
Turning
were
Red.
better
Turning
than
Red.
Up.
Turning Red.
Turning Red. Yeah, Turning Red and like just all of these.
Dude, this guy's on point.
These animations were better.
Did you make Five Will Goes West?
I just
love
don't.
Five Will Goes
I
West.
never liked Land Before Time, and I never liked All Dogs Go to Heaven.
I don't like All Dogs Go to Heaven. I loved Land
All
Before
Dogs
Time,
Who
though.
Go to Heaven like scared me as a kid.
actually,
I
me
thought that
too.
was actually scary. But maybe, you know what? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe kids should be
Oh.
a little scared by their stories. And like, I was just thinking about how they could possibly get reboots right, is if they made them accurate to original fables. Like, imagine like Hansel and
Mermaid.
Gretel as
Yes.
something accurate to it, but
Now you're
not a
talking.
horror movie.
Did you see
Now
the
you're
one where
talking.
the one they made where they switched the names around
Gretel
and made
and
it Gretel and
Hansel?
Hansel just to be dicks?
No,
Yeah.
that's funny.
That was
No,
my favorite.
You made me think of Little
So
Mermaid because I
bad.
think in the original fable, the Little Mermaid just turns into sea foam in the end. It's like very.
It's dark,
dark.
yeah.
It's
There are
dark.
dark endings to these.
I appreciate
stories.
those. But this guy, I didn't realize this is who behind American Tail.
Brett,
Land
can you go
Before
to
Time.
single
So
camera
amazing.
again?
I can do that. I can do that.
Thanks.
Yes. So he's also like Fantastic Voyage.
Sabrina the Teenage
Sabrina
Witch.
the Teenage Witch. He was a layout artist for that. Secret of the Nim. Wow. That's incredible. I've never seen Banjo and the Woodpile Cat. But most of these are like iconic classics, right?
Classics.
So it says all of these ones that are listed. Titan AE is great too. And I understand that I might be in the minority on that one. The Pebble and the
see it.
Penguin I've never seen. Thank
Woo,
you.
That was aggressive.
That was
That was aggressive. I
the
just
pro-
got a shave from this 20.
and my
Thank you, though.
my gun broke. I don't know what happened.
Shoot,
we're gonna
man.
have to do something about
Listen,
it.
your
later.
gun broke and it made this one shoot harder.
That's-
and it's direct. It's aiming right at my eye. I gotta wear protective glasses from
We're
now
gonna.
on, people.
What do you think? What do you think? You think I
I
wear
guess
these for
so,
my
yeah.
health? Yeah. Somebody was Mary was wearing glasses a couple days ago. Was that last week? It was last week.
Yeah.
And I was like I give people crap because she wears contacts and then had like glasses
Right.
underneath. And I was like anytime somebody wears fake glasses, I you good over there?
Yes,
now?
I'm good
She's
now.
good now. So like whenever people wear fake glasses, I
It's
give
for
them crap.
fashion.
I give them Well, I was like, would you wear a hearing aid for fashion? Would you have a
Okay, I don't know if that's
I bet some people would.
totally
that?
good comparison,
Eh,
but
eh,
okay.
That's just
I
me being.
guarantee there's
It's just
someone
me
out
being
there.
petty. It's just me being petty.
Let's get to some of these super chats.
All right.
Alexandria Oakley said they pulled it off with the movie Serenity.
They're right. The Serenity movie's fantastic. That's a very
see that.
rare, but I
Never
think that's
saw.
a fairly rare example. The first, actually, I will say, season 10 of the X-Files was not awful. The
Okay.
ending of the final episode was awful, but the actual comeback had some bright spots in there with Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny.
I gotta watch that.
So, there's not a whole ton of examples of shows that come back.
Sex in the City.
I have a friend who loves it.
The new one?
Loves it.
I haven't heard that from anybody
Loves
even people
it.
who like that show.
Didn't they just do a reboot of that?
bu-
No,
I
it's
think there's been a few.
it's a continuation, like right
Oh,
with
yeah,
Sarah.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
friend loves it, and I'm just like, dude.
Well, cheers to your friend.
Yeah, I was like, he's like talking about it. I'm
He?
like, it's a he. And,
Oh.
Even better.
and I was like, he's like explaining it to me, and it's like it's kind of like Mary's face when I geek out on movies and stuff like that. My eyes just glaze over, like Mary's, I'm sure do when I'm
My eyes are always glazed over like that.
But it's like, so he's like explaining it to me, and I'm like, you have no idea how little I'm happy for you. I am happy for you, but I can't personally.
I
bring
will
myself to
say
it.
though, as much as I don't care about that show, it was a revolutionary
Yes.
show for things like that.
For millennial women everywhere.
It turned into a horrible thing.
We
but
lost,
in terms of storytelling.
We
it was
lost
interesting.
Willie Garson, who's on that show. He was Willie Garson's. He's one of those you're gonna see him and you're gonna be like, oh my god, that guy. as soon as you see his.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness, that guy.
Jake?
I do. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
But
I didn't know that.
he was in one of my favorite, the Erlenmeyer Flask, which is one of my favorite episodes of the X-Files, back in the day. So we lost him in 2021.
Dang.
So is there a couple more super chats there?
Joseph says, I cry from profound beauty all the time too, Shane.
There you go.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Crispy Like Transport LLC said, instead of calling her Buffy the Vampire, just make her a new vampire slayer. Don't forget the show had several vampire slayers at more than one time. It could be a new concept if Buffy was running a slayer camp.
That's a new band name for us, Slayer Camp.
Slayer
It should be
camp.
called Yas Queen Slayer. That's what it should be. But no, that's the thing. They don't want to take the risk because even giving it the name of a character, like they made Angel. And Angel was successful, but that's because it came out at the same time. Even naming it a slightly less popular character means that all the marketing that they would get, the free marketing they would get by calling it Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is out the window. So they won't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's why they.
ridiculous.
That's why they love the.
Skating on
That's
it.
why they love the bait and switch. They want all the benefit that comes with having the name there, while not having to actually talk about
It's
the actual
just
character.
The studio's like parading around in skin suits.
That's
That's
creepy.
all it
It's
is.
Perfect.
That's all it is.
There's a couple more.
Caper2X said, for Mary, mother of stuffed bears, defender of the faith, baker of cookies, wordsmith, shield maiden, a constant foil to Sir Brett, the angst master.
Amazing.
I don't know how I feel about Angst Master.
How do you feel about that?
I like that. I think
kind
that should be
of
a shirt.
it
Because
makes
looking
me-
at us, you would definitely think I'm the angsty one.
You, well, we're big fans of subverting expectations here. I
Right.
talk about it all the time. I love subverting expectations.
Thank you.
I don't know how I feel about being called the Angst Master.
I don't know how I feel about being called Shield Maiden, but the rest of them are okay.
I'm a pretty big. I'm actually a bigger fan of Shield Maiden than
Really?
yes.
What about Sir Brett?
I'm good with Sir. Yes.
Yeah, like
What was
that.
it? Wasn't it like a bunch of like YouTubers have like they have the thing where you can like buy land in like Scotland so you can get like a title or something there.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
maybe that'll be our
Well-
first sponsor.
Waffle Sensei said they did bring back the OG cast for Firefly. They made Serenity, which was just not the same.
Yeah, some time had passed. It would be like I said, it would be cool to see them try, but you have to learn to be able to like not let the failed attempts ruin how you feel about the original. Right?
I didn't. I don't think I remember it that well, but I didn't like the 24 remakes years later.
Yeah, no, I don't
And
know
I
anyone.
loved
the
24.
Again, the original 24 was a product of its time.
I never felt anxiety like I felt like watching that
That's
show.
it's
Crazy.
it's
anxiety.
hilarious.
That's
Like,
probably,
it's-
I still have residual anxiety now. That was like 15 years ago.
a show I would love. That, like, I would make a challenge to Hollywood. I would love to see them try and pull off The West Wing. In
Yeah.
in a rare example of like normally like when they do when Hollywood does politics well, they don't address the party. They just talk about the like it's
Bureaucracy.
It's just
Thank you.
bureaucracy.
Yeah.
That is a rare example where they talk about being one of the parties, about the Democrat Party, and the show is fantastic.
It would have to be Sorkin, right? He wrote
It would
that.
yes.
Because like the dialogue from that man, I don't like all his movies, but he's an exceptional dialogue writer, and that
Yes.
show is built on dialogue and walking down hallways.
He's kind of like maybe him and Shonda Rhimes do something together. I'm not a huge fan
I
of
could see that
Shonda
being a
Rhimes,
good pairing.
but it would be an interesting like blend of their because they have such different writing styles.
Yeah.
Maybe see them try to blend those two
Yeah.
together. I have a friend who like his whole goal in life is to like be able to walk around and talk like people on the show Scandal, because all they do is monologue
Right.
to one another. Like they enter rooms, they don't actually talk to people, they talk at people.
Oh, funny.
And they deliver these hilariously over the top monologues. That it's like I can't even do it. But
On TV, it's either everything is communicated with looks,
Mm-hmm.
like
you.
little eyebrow raises and
Yep.
like one word,
Yeah.
or it's a monologue and there's no in between. And also, people stand way too close to each other because you have
Yes.
to get each other in the shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's by design. Because if you ever notice,
Yeah.
like in film, when you do a side profile one shot, it's literally coded to be intimate, right? You
Really?
can't. Yes. Yeah. Like if you see a one shot, side profile like that, the point of that is you're going to see, because of how close they have to stand, it's coded as intimate, which is why when they do over-the-shoulder stuff, because of focal lengths and stuff like that, they do probably stand closer than they normally would, but it's also for blocking, for scenery, stuff like that. I geek out over stuff.
I love that stuff too. I was actually watching some soap operas while getting an oil change at the mechanic the other day, and I couldn't believe how, like, I wouldn't know how to feel about the scenes if they didn't have certain music to tell me.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, wow. You could take out the music and it'd just be normal, and you put in nefarious music. Now I'm like, oh, I don't like this guy. Yeah. Or it's happy music. Now, oh, that was cute. But it was the same dialogue. Didn't matter.
Music and color grading play a huge part in telling you what a scene is actually supposed to, how you're supposed to actually feel about a specific scene.
Yep.
There's some more.
Alexandria Oakley said it was the same waffles. They did wash wrong.
Yep, they're right.
And also said follow the season 8 comic for Buffy, wildly popular.
Okay.
Halls and the Kids said, "Hey, it's that inverted world guy."
Yeah, I've heard of him.
What's up?
I've heard of him.
Weirdo.
Ryan MacArthur said the live-action Kim Possible was the first movie to legit tick me off by being so bad. I can't imagine a Buffy reboot or a Firefly reboot being any better. I did hear horrible reviews of that Kim Possible movie, but I wanted to watch it just because I watched the series as a kid. But yeah.
What about didn't they remake Gilmore Girls, or not Gilmore Girls, or what was the other?
They did do that.
They did.
I think so.
Which one?
Gilmore Girls. They also
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl, was it Gossip Girls?
It wasn't Gilmore Girls. I think it was Gossip Girl.
And then they also redid what's the other one that was on the same network on the CW about the spot. I can't think.
I don't
of
know.
it.
They did.
Nancy Drew.
Oh, I don't know. They did redo Dexter recently.
Yeah, that actually is a fairly good example of one that did fairly well and then did exactly what they weren't supposed to do at the end and crapped the bed again.
There were moments that were really nice.
Yeah. It's I enjoy. Of course, I liked the first 4 seasons of Dexter, 5 seasons of Dexter.
Well,
I didn't really. I felt that it was at
absolutely.
an automatic handicap just by not being in Miami, just by not being in Florida.
I was interested and I watched it, but like that, whatever season of Dexter has the Arthur, the serial killer who I forget his name, but the guy from Third Rock from the Sun. That was like one of the best.
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. That was like the best season of television.
The Trinity Killer.
Man, that was good.
Yep, great stuff.
All right. Another actually. Caper2X said West Wing, it would be contrasted unfavorably with Brandon's White House. So a no-go. Sadly, a conservative version would be canceled outright.
See, I don't even want it to be I don't even know. Do they address party affiliation in House of Cards? Like I don't even know if they do. The best ones,
some degree, I think.
The best ones do not mention parties. The best ones just talk about the interactions and the goings on in politics.
Like I was thinking of how Homeland was.
And
I really liked Homeland, but they didn't. Their politicians, I think you'd have to kind of like read between the lines sometimes about how the policies were, which still today wouldn't really mean much.
And the reason it doesn't work is because it's inward now. And back then it was focused on the war on terror, which was outwardly focused. So it's a lot different.
They did turn inward towards the end, I think.
I gave up. And I watched through season 5.
They gave us an Alex Jones character and everything.
Of course. Of course. It is what it is, man. All right. I think there was one more in there.
Alexandria Oakley added, let's not forget the remake of Heathers.
I
never saw that.
I never saw that.
I've been meaning to watch the original Heathers.
Is that some witch stuff?
I've never heard of it.
If it's witch stuff, I'm
into
Heathers
it. In general?
I've never heard of it.
I've never met a Heather.
Wait, really? Heathers? It's like well, I never watched the whole thing, but it's basically about a bunch of teenagers committing sewer slide.
Oh, wow. That sounds awful. It doesn't sound...
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to be like a dark comedy. Is that true?
Oh, man.
Am I
don't
wrong?
know. I'm looking at it now.
I never got that far into it.
I never saw it, but I like it's got all the great people from the 80s. Is it 80s or 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, 80s. Winona Ryder, Shannon Doherty,
I'm surprised
Christian
you haven't
Slater.
heard of that.
What was the movie in the 90s where the guy like tries to get out of he gets to graduate college because his roommate commits that act?
Yes.
I don't remember the name of that movie, but that was
that is a thing.
Oh, okay. They should make the Skulls. They should read or anything to do with college secret societies.
Oh, that that was good.
That
should be fairly easy to do these days.
Yeah,
with
you could do
all
that.
we know now.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that is. I think we're gonna wrap it up for
Yeah.
today. Shane, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you guys.
today, man.
Appreciate it.
Let everyone know they can find you, and actually re-shout out your book again so that they can
so
get at it.
I'm on all the platforms online at Shane Cashman, and we have our volume 1 of Inverted World. You can get the book at invertedworldbook.com. Find us on YouTube at Tales from the Inverted World, and we'll have the new season, new volume up end of this month, and a new book in July.
Perfect, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, and thank you for coming back again this week
Thank
after
you.
taking a week off last
Yeah, I
week.
needed a vacation. Just
Yeah.
so much pop culture.
He's like, I just can't handle those guys over there. All right, Mary, tell them where they can find you.
Again, sorry about being so disgusting and sick today. Thank you for putting up with me. You can find me on Instagram and WeChat at Closer Kitty, and whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there. Also, Alexandria Oakley added Mean Girls of the 80s, remake never released in the U.S.
All right, beautiful.
Mm,
Now I'm going to go watch Mean Girls.
great.
It's just higher stakes Mean Girls.
That's all right. All right, guys, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic for the show. Remember, right here on YouTube, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. That's 12 p.m. Pacific. We are also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you choose to listen to us rather than to watch all this ridiculous stuff happening as it happens. We are on social media. We are on Twitter at popculture_show. We are on Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then, guys. Bye.
Later.
Bye.